Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And tonight, from Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis, it's game number 2 between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the St. Louis Cardinals. Game 1, 10th inning, shortstop Johnny Peralta sends everybody home. Already the 8th game for the Cardinals in extra innings here in 2015. And with Al Hrabosky, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us for baseball tonight. It's not just Johnny Peralta who is producing in this lineup, but think about your leadoff man, Colton Wong, and also Matt Carpenter. Those two have been terrific.
Well, we knew Matt Carpenter could be the leadoff man, but it's kind of been a little bit of a search who would be the leadoff man when you move Carpenter down. The last 6 games, we found the leadoff man, and it's Colton Wong. He has been outstanding, getting on base, but more than that, he's producing runs and he's driving in runs, and so it really sets up the middle of the order.
Good matchup on the mound between Arizona and St. Louis. Archie Bradley getting to start, young right-hander for the Diamondbacks. The veteran lefty, Jaime Garcia, back at home. He loves home cooking. Baseball comes your way next. his way to an on-base streak of 41 consecutive games to start the year. One shy of the Cardinals record. Arcia in the driver's seat. How has he done it? 29 with a hit, 9 with a walk. He's been hit by a pitch 3 different times. He muscled that base hit to right field. 2 hits and a single in the 5th. This one off of Oliver Perez later in the game. A 2-hit day for Mr. Consistency this year, and that is the Cardinals left fielder, Matt Holliday. He's in the lineup tonight. He'll bat third for the Cardinals. The Cardinals and Diamondbacks coming up on Fox Sports Midwest. Diamondbacks and the St. Louis Cardinals. Game number 2 of their 3-game series as Jaime Garcia has just finished up his warm-up tosses. And before Ender Inciarte steps in, the umpire calls time to make sure everybody is back from break. And now we are set to go. The Diamondbacks are 4th best in the National League in terms of average, hitting .264. And it's good to see Jaime Garcia on the mound every 5th day, and in particular what he does here at home. And there's a strike.
Well, no doubt about it. He is outstanding when he pitches here at home. That's his first start of the year. You saw the 5 walks. He erased 3 of those. They were leadoff walks with double play balls.
Slapped the other way and playing in Carpenter, and a backhanded stab at that line drive for the first out. Inciarte, and now we'll see Mark Trumbo. Then Paul Goldschmidt off to a great year. A.J. Pollock, Yasmani Tomas, Aaron Hill gets the start in game 2. Tuffy goes a wish. Nick Ahmed, known for his glove, not his bat, hitting just .209. And then the pitcher batting 9th, Archie Bradley. Trumbo knocked out his 7th home run late in game 1. That tied the game at 2-2. And eventually the Cardinals won the ball game in extra innings thanks to Johnny Peralta. Trumbo hitting .264, 7 home runs, 21 driven in. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You mentioned that Jaime Garcia, how well he pitches here at home. 23-13 ERA, 2.9. Overall, he's 42-27 at the major league level. But these Diamondbacks have the best average against left-handed pitching.
Matter of fact, that 2.9 ERA for Garcia here at Busch Stadium 3, which is now hard to believe 10 years old. It's 49 starts, the ERA 2.9, 7th lowest of anybody that's pitched at this ballpark.
Well, there's no doubt when Jaime is healthy, and that's been an issue, he keeps the ball down, terrific movement, and he wins.
He was telling me the other day this is the best he has felt in probably 3 years. His velocity in New York was around 93, 94, which was a bit surprising.
A lot harder than it had been the last few years. I think he really has matured.
2-2, backhanded by Adams, late break by Garcia, and Trumbo is to the bag first, and an infield hit. Late break by Jaime Garcia, and that cost him.
Well, you know, it's been a while since Jaime's been out there, and you kind of have to check the defense. When you looked at where Adams was playing, I think Jaime first thought it was going to second base. His momentum does carry him towards the third base side, and Jaime did beat Adams. The problem was Trumbo beat Jaime. The best shot would have been for Adams to try and get it to his pitcher and let the foot race commence.
The always dangerous, consistent Paul Goldschmidt. He's played in 9 games against the St. Louis Cardinals. He has 13 hits. 6 of the 13 have gone for extra bases. That pitch taken low and in.
Franchise type player. See what he's done against lefties. 400 average. But he's just a solid player. Two-way player. He's a Gold Glove recipient at first base and a legitimate MVP candidate.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. He's been so good to start 2015 that among all National League first basemen, he is first in every category except average, and that's Adrian Gonzalez of the Dodgers. He's at 344. Goldschmidt at 338. Everything else, he's first.
Doesn't surprise you.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. I wasn't overly concerned with the walks last time out by Garcia, which he walked 5 against the Mets in his first start. Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks. I thought you'd take away the positives, which is number 1, here he is 5 days from the previous start. 2, he went 100+ pitches.
7 innings. You know, I mean, that was surprising in itself. Sure, but right, with 5 walks, 4 of them of which promptly they let off. 3 of them let off an inning, but then he promptly got a ground ball double play ball. And what they turned, I think, 4 double plays in that game behind them.
Yeah, the aspect of that start was velocity, as we mentioned earlier, much better. 2-2 the count.
And I think when you listen to some of the interviews that Jaime has given recently, all of a sudden you see a sign of maturity. What I also noticed was it's a symptom that happens to a lot of guys when they're out. They realize how much they love the game and how much they miss the game. And all of a sudden I started hearing him talk about how much he couldn't wait to get back in the uniform, assume his responsibility, and take care of business as a teammate.
3-2 and a strikeout of Goldschmidt. First strikeout for Jaime Garcia. This is from his last start. Fastball, the cutter, slider, curve, changeup, the Hyundai pitch arsenal for left-hander Jaime Garcia.
What it also says is he could throw all of his pitches. You know, some he favored more than others. And you don't see Goldschmidt being fooled very often like this. Pitch top of the strike zone, a pitch that if he knew that was coming, he would definitely put a swing on it and probably do some damage.
A.J. Pollock batting in the cleanup spot. Trumbo the runner at first, and a breaking ball drops in just a bit high. Pollock hitting .311, 4 home runs. He's driven in 16. Former first-round pick in 2009 by Arizona from the University of Notre Dame.
Talk about they have a 4-man outfield. And Pollock is a guy that really hits left-handers well. Definitely a very good defender.
2 balls and no strikes.
So he'll get his chance to bat, particularly when there's a left-hander on the mound. Hit .417 against lefties.
David Peralta started in left field yesterday. He's on the bench along with Chris Owings, Jordan Pacheco, and the switch hitting Cliff Pennington. The 2-0. Now 3-0. Jaime, in our visit the other day, mentioned exactly what you were talking about, Al, how you just can't take for granted being back in the big leagues, how appreciative he is to be healthy enough to do this after it's been taken away from him several times, and again in spring training. He also talked about his catcher, Yadier Molina. I found it very interesting. I mean, Jaime goes back to even before the Cardinals 2011 World Series year, and he said, I just don't think fans and even our opponents to an extent understand what he means to me and this rotation. He is the best in the game. He said you can turn over the game to him and feel comfortable with what he's putting down. That pitch was up and drilled into left center field. Over to get it, Grichuk, Trumbo to third. Throw comes into second base. No one is there, but backing up Adams. And it's a double for A.J. Pollock. Runners at second and third. Let's meet the Cardinals defensively tonight, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Holiday in left, Grichuk in center, Hayward is in right, Matt Carpenter at third, Peralta at short, Colton Wong, Matt Adams on the right side of the infield, the aforementioned Yadier Molina behind the plate.
I took away from your comments in talking about Yadier Molina. I understand that, but at times I cringe because you don't want a pitching staff to become so dependent on Yadier Molina and his ability to call. I thought it was interesting that in the first start it was Tony Cruz that caught Jaime Garcia, not Yadier.
Yasmani Tomas missed that by a foot. Yeah, to be truthful, I was shocked.
Yeah,
that we didn't see Yadi for Garcia's first start. That's not to take away from Tony Cruz. It's just the importance that they put on the shoulders and responsibility of Molina behind the plate.
And everything you talk about Molina is all true, you know, and what a great leader he is, and what a comforting factor he is. But you know, what happens, you know, you almost set yourself up for an emotional letdown if he does get hurt and not back there when you do pitch. So you have to learn from his guidance, and you know, you study hard and understand why he puts down those figures, those signs, and understand it, so if he's not there that you can help call it. And by the way, too, we both have the utmost respect for Tony Cruz and his ability to call a game also.
But he ain't no Yadier Molina. Not many are. No balls and 2 strikes on Tomas. Runners at second and third with 2 outs. Kept in front by Molina. Tomas in his first 9 games hit .235 with no extra base hits. But now here in the month of May, he's batting .351, which is tops among all Major League rookies. He's starting to come on.
He's a rookie, but he's come over from the international days and the days of playing in Cuba. Signed a big contract. We're not sold on him as a third baseman, and probably think he eventually will end up in the outfield, but he's starting to hit and staying in the lineup.
Here's a 1-2. It's sharply and past Carpenter, fair ball down into the corner. 2 runs will score. Tomas on his way to second base. Ball was scorched in Carpenter's direction, and it's 2-0 Arizona.
Kind of get the feeling that Matt Carpenter wish he had another shot at. They say a lot of times they're trying to come in with him an off-speed pitch, and he really turns the bat head, pulls it, and a rocket, and it came up on Carpenter. A little frustrated with that. And one of the things about Tomas, that's one of the few balls they've really seen him be able to turn on and pull. And he really has an approach of hitting the ball up the middle, but they were expecting him to pull the ball with authority. Did okay on that one.
Here's Aaron Hill. That's now 93 2-out RBIs for Arizona. That's tops in Major League Baseball. Extends the hitting streak for Tomas to 10 games. Boy, those 2-out RBIs are just killers. 0-1 pitch to Aaron Hill.
And I mean, this time of night, I was thinking about the Tomas hit and kind of see where Carpenter is playing. And you can see he's looking right into a bright sunshine. I think that kind of helped complicate that hard hit ball to him.
Ball was a rocket.
Yeah, it was a rocket and looked like it took a bad hop. So, I mean, watch your lips.
Pulled foul. No balls, 2 strikes on Hill, who's 2 home runs shy of 150 for his career. He's got some power. 3rd among second basemen since 2009 in home runs, behind Robinson Cano of Seattle and Dan Uggla.
Mentioned Owings, that started last night, just continues to struggle offensively, so Hill gets another shot. One of the veterans they're talking about possibly moving.
On the inside corner and a strikeout of Hill. Yasmani Tomas, the rookie, gives Arizona an early 2-run lead. Brought to you by Bud Light Lime, the perfect beer for whatever happens. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealers for great prices on our all-new 2015 vehicles today. Back at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, along with Al Raboski and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. As Colton Wong will lead it off for the St. Louis Cardinals, followed by Matt Carpenter, then Matt Holliday. That trio could be headed to the All-Star game. Matt Adams, Johnny Peralta, the walk-off winner last night, Yadier Molina, Jason Hayward, Randall Grichuk, and Jaime Garcia. The pitcher is batting 9th. Highly thought of, talented youngster Archie Bradley. 6 starts. He has a record of 2-1. Big guy, 6'4", 235 pounds.
He's kind of had 2 starts of the year. He got off to a great start, beating Kershaw, and then coming out of the game late with a lead over Bumgarner. He had 3 quality starts, his first 3 starts, doing an outstanding job, and then he took a line drive off the face. Cargo hit one, broke a sinus cavity, and he's really struggled since then.
A pitch inside, and it's 2-1 on Colton Wong. Look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal.
Now they're really calling him a one-trick pony. 4-seam fastballs. He does a good job of keeping it down. A knuckle curveball that is very, very inconsistent, and almost that changeup. You know, he's afraid to throw it because he can't throw strikes with it. So it's really a situation. Be ready for the fastball.
3-1 pitch and a walk to Colton. So Al alluded to this moments ago. We flash back just about a month ago, April 28th. Struck in the face, suffered a right sinus fracture. A line drive by Carlos Gonzalez, and it was an 82-mile-an-hour pitch going in. It came out 115 miles per hour, and only 6 so far in terms of hits back at the pitcher or anywhere. Only 6 have been recorded as harder hit than Cargo back on April 28th.
Very, very lucky, and they're already trying to dial him in to the strike zone. Josewich, they say, really very good at handling the pitchers. But this young man is just, he's got immense talent. A lot of people have, because of his size, have called him a future Roger Clemens. Now, I don't know if that's disrespectful to Roger Clemens or you're doing him disservice, because there's not too many can live up to Roger Clemens.
1 ball, no strikes on Matt Carpenter. Since that time, when he was hit back on April 28th, he's 0-1, ERA of 10, 8 earned runs allowed in just 7 innings.
Well, he's a tough kid mentally. Broken Arrow High School in Oklahoma. They've had some pretty good players come out of that area. College, or he had a college scholarship to the University of Oklahoma as a quarterback, and after that, people obviously asked, how's that going to affect you as a pitcher? And he took the stance that I won't have any problem. I took a lot of hard shots from some tough linebackers, and it's just like another blow. I'll get over it, and you hope he does.
Third baseman Tomas is in on the grass. Might be doing Carpenter a favor. 2-1 pitch. Taken low. Carpenter, 2 hits yesterday. Now 21 multi-hit games to lead the National League.
Dan, you got to believe the Cardinals being patient, knowing a guy really basically has a fastball that he can put in the zone. You're going to get a lot of hitters counts.
Wong, the runner at first base. See if the Cardinals want to be aggressive with him. Gozawish, though, threw out 2 yesterday, and he's thrown out 6 of the last 9 trying to steal on him, and 9 of 18 overall. He's been very good defensively. Big lead by Wong, not running, and the pitch is taken for a ball. Back-to-back walks, and in steps Holiday. Archie Bradley, the defense behind him, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Inciarte in left, A.J. Pollock in center, Mark Trumbo is in right. Yosmane Tomas at third. Nick Ahmed won a Gold Glove in the minor leagues a couple of years ago. He's at short. Aaron Hill at second. Paul Goldschmidt has won a Gold Glove at the major league level. He's at first, and Gozawish is behind the plate.
Mike Harkey, the pitching coach, out to talk to his young right-hander. He was their top prospect, 2011 draft. He was the 7th overall pick by Arizona.
Entered this season ranked by Baseball America and MLB.com as their #1 prospect, and right now he's in trouble here in the bottom of the first. Runners at first and second. Nobody out for Holiday, who's trying to make it 42 straight in terms of reaching base to start this season, which would tie Albert Pujols' record, which was set back in 2008. Two hit yesterday. A single to right field in the 5th. Then a hard hit ball off the foot of Oliver Perez. Diamondbacks put Enrique Burgos on the DL. We saw him pitch yesterday. He has tendonitis in the shoulder. They've called up a lefty, Vidal Nuno. 0-1 pitch.
Mentioned that Bradley was the first round for Arizona in 2011. Remember Brad Penning? He spent a little time here with the Cardinals. He was the 5th round, 1996. I think Jim Brewer, very good pitcher, primarily with the Dodgers, but I remember he's from Broken Arrow. I know Frank Lindsay, the name of the past, was very helpful for me when I first came up to the big leagues. I think Frank was from around that neighborhood.
Here's a 1-2 in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Pitches, nobody even, not an out recorded, runners on. Look at Holiday's numbers. Been so good with runners in scoring position.
Two. Matt Holliday, 1 home run shy of 250 for his career. Leads the club in walks with 27. The Cardinals, top 3 in this lineup, are all in the top 10 in hitting of the National League. Wong, Carpenter, Holliday. Holliday is 8th at 317. The 2-2. Up the middle, that's a base hit. Cardinals will get on the board. Wong will score. Make it 42 straight games. Reaching base for Matt Holliday to start 2015.
Going Matt Holliday, but there, you know, Holliday just hits the ball so hard, he's going to get his fair share that'll go through. But if that ball was at a fielder, that would have been a double play ball. But there's what you're talking about, regional little Cardinal history.
So he has tied Albert Pujols. Cardinals had a walk-off win yesterday. Pujols had a walk-off hit for the Angels last night. Here is Matt Adams. And he looks at his strike. We saw him bunt against the shift in yesterday's game. Had an RBI in the first, a run scored, a single and a walk. He's seen the shift, if you include this, 53 times this year. His average against the shift is just 231 with a couple of home runs.
Made 241 overall. But our good buddy Jim Hayes will have more about Matt and his ability to bunt.
And a strikeout of Adams. Was caught looking twice yesterday. Strikes out first time here tonight. And the first down recorded for Archie Bradley. Here's Johnny Peralta.
And I know you're the master promoter of all Cardinals for the All-Star game. You better start including Johnny Peralta in those numbers.
Well, you want me to stop or?
No, I want you to keep on going. I want more. But he's well on his way to deserving that nod.
Goes the other way, slicing and fair into the corner. 1 run is in. They'll wave in Holliday, digging for the plate. Relay, not in time. Peralta puts the Cardinals on top 3-2.
Matt Holliday, he's at first base. You know, he's a big man. He reads that well. He knows that it's going to get down into the corner. He'll turn around here. He'll pick up Oquendo, who just does not miss a beat coming across the third base bag. Sees the lane to the outside, slides for it, and tags home plate with his left hand. Don't get in his way. You think there's a few catchers who are thankful they changed the rule and blocking the plate?
Goswish almost saw that go to the backstop.
Yeah, it was almost as if he thought he was crossed up the way he awkwardly stabbed at it.
And I still don't understand the rule fully of the catchers, what they can and cannot do. I can read it, but then I see how it's called, and it doesn't seem to be the same night after night. Infield is drawn in for Yadier Molina. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You can see when he throws an off-speed pitch, it really slows down the arm angle. These good hitters, they detect that. Don't have to bring the infield all the way in because of Molina's running speed.
Two balls and 1 strike on Yadier Molina. Cardinals lead it 3-2 after the 2-run double by Johnny Peralta. Rain earlier today in St. Louis. It's turned out to be a beautiful night for baseball. Just missed. That really has been the case with Bradley here in the first. He hasn't missed by much, or the balls that have not gone his way. Now the count is full, 3-2 with the infield in.
You see the pitches keep on mounting up.
That's pulled to Tomas. No play at the plate. Across the diamond. Takes away a hit, but a run does score. RBI for Yadier Molina. And that makes it a 4-2 St. Louis lead.
19th RBI for Yadi. He's close to becoming the 6th Cardinal with 20 or more RBIs. Hard hit ball. Tomas not noted for his third base ability defensively. He makes a nice play. He thought about checking the runner there, but he knew he had to get an out, and the only one was at first base.
Jason Hayward against the shift. First pitch taken low. He had a 2-out RBI in the 4th, game 1. Cardinals now with a 4-2 lead. The Diamondbacks ranked near the bottom of shifts last year, shifting on just 9% of plate appearances. From their calculations, it only worked 25 times. By the way, Houston shifted 36% of the time last year. They lead this season by a wide margin.
I remember a couple years ago when
Hayward pops it up. It's Nick Ahmed backing up into shallow left, and the shortstop makes the play. Matt Holliday with a single here in the first inning. He's now reached base 42 consecutive games to start 2015. Scored the 3rd run of a 4-run St. Louis first. 4-2 Cardinals. Goes a wish. Ahmed and Bradley do up. Our Toyota keys to the game.
Well, we kind of saw a little idea of Cardinals need to sit on the fastball. He really doesn't have a secondary pitch that he can convince them that he must throw. And also the snake charmer. And that's Jaime Garcia. He's 3-0 with a good ERA, 2.16 against Arizona. Off to a little rough start the first inning, but his offense has got him 4 runs and a 2-run lead. So just go out there and keep on dominating against the club. Of course, many of these guys have not seen him. He hadn't pitched him against 2010. Excuse me, 12. There you see the career marks against the Snakes. C is having a little trouble with his changeup, but I think you're going to find that it's such a good one that if he keeps on staying with it, he'll eventually get it near the strike zone and they'll offer it.
2-1 pitch. Hit into left center. Holiday is there to make the catch on the run. Goes a wish. He's out number 1, and it brings in Nick Ahmed.
Of course, Jaime really has to be careful with these Diamondbacks. We said they have the best average in the National League against left-handed pitching. But you do have a big ballpark here. If you don't walk people, make them hit to the middle of the ballpark, guys like Trumbo and Goldschmidt might be able to hit them out, but a lot of the others will not.
8th place hitter Nick Ahmed, and a strike at the knees. That's one way to watch the game up in the arch. Oh, 1 pitch.
It's not quite like the Cubbies who used to cheat, where they would have a scout in the center field high rise and would relay pitches to the dugout. I don't think you could quite do that from the arch.
Be awfully tough. There's a fly ball lifted out to left. Holiday going back at the track, at the wall, leaps and runs out of room. It's a home run. Ahmed, his 2nd home run.
Ahmed's one of those guys that hit lefties very well. 385 before his 2nd home run of the year. So we're going to have to outslug him tonight. Holiday goes back, gets an effort, but it gets over him. It's like he jumps back and kind of jumps into the wall, not over it.
Here's Archie Bradley. Hitting .091. No home runs, no RBIs, as Holiday ran out of room. 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Bradley 1 for 11 with 5 strikeouts.
We talked about it. This young man is a great athlete. At one point was signed to go play football at Oklahoma, quarterback for Bob Stoops. Then the 7th overall pick in 2011 decided to take the money and dedicate his time to the game of baseball. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And the money was in the neighborhood of $5 million. So they'll pay for a lot of tutors. A lot of tutors later on.
2-2 pitch in the dirt. See Garcia fighting a little bit here early goings.
Part of that mentally is, you go out there and anticipate you're going to throw a shutout. You're going to not give up very many hits.
And a strikeout. So first time through the lineup for Jaime Garcia. He records 3 strikeouts. So it may surprise you a little bit, Arizona, in terms of what they do offensively. 2nd in runs per game. And then the average with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, 4th best. They've already added RBIs 92 and 93 in terms of 2-out RBIs, tops in all of Major League Baseball.
And Dan, they really got out of the gate pretty well. Pitchers were throwing surprisingly well, but then May started coming and reality hit the pitching staff.
Ender Inciarte lined out to Carpenter, who's playing in first time up.
And they're trying to weed out some of the veteran guys, trying to give more playing time to the younger players. They're definitely in a rebuilding stage.
Showing bunt. And the home plate umpire, Chris Segal, is saying that he did go or that it was a foul ball.
I think he's calling a foul ball. And Chip Hale is going to say, we could see it from over there. It sure didn't look like it made contact.
Why not ask the umpire? Meaning Eric Cooper or Chris Guccione or Lance Barksdale. Ask for help.
Yeah, and that's where a young umpire can save himself a lot of headaches just by asking for help. Eric Cooper now has come in to talk to Chip Hale and try to be reasonable, but sometimes you run out there and you get a little aggressive with the umpire, then he resists and won't ask for help.
Chip Hale is a former second and third baseman in the major leagues. Played collegiately at the University of Arizona. He was telling us that Tom Kelly is one of his great influences, and that wasn't even close.
No, it was not close. And it's now 0-2. Thank you.
One ball and 2 strikes. Chip Hale was drafted by Minnesota. Saw time with the Minnesota Twins. Under the watchful eye of Tom Kelly. Chopped up the middle. Wong won't get it. A single into center field. Inciarte is 1 for 2, and it extends the inning to Mark Trumbo.
Not a big guy, and just making sure with 2 strikes, just put the ball in play, bounces it up the middle. Not a lot of wasted motion in that swing.
Trumbo. Infield hit back in the first inning. He's now 9 for 28 against the Cardinals. It's a .321 average with 4 home runs. Two outs and a runner at first. The breaking ball taken high. Here's a 1-0 pitch in the dirt again, kept in front by Molina.
Now so far out in front of the plate, always at the mercy of that hop, but good job there, technique to keep it in front of him.
Trumbo is a former All-Star back in 2012 with the Angels and finished with a flourish a year ago as they check on Inciarte. He had 6 home runs, 22 RBIs. Goldschmidt was out. They dealt with injuries all season long. Chip Hale has moved him up to the number 2 spot in this lineup with the idea that he'd get more fastballs, more pitches to hit by being placed in front of Paul Goldschmidt. Chop towards short. Johnny Peralta across the diamond. Nick Ahmed came into play tonight hitting .209 with just 1 home run. And this one sneaks over the wall and left and into the Diamondbacks bullpen. Cuts into the Cardinals lead. It's now 4-3. Randall Grichuk, Jaime Garcia, Colton Wong due up, and we check in with Jim Hayes.
Dan, Marco Gonzalez had his left shoulder checked out by the Cardinals medical staff here in St. Louis. The good news, according to General Manager John Mozeliak, no structural issues. Mozeliak says it's more of an impingement. He says first order of business is to calm the shoulder down. Then Marco will begin an exercise program designed to strengthen that shoulder. He says he's hoping that Marco will remain in St. Louis at least for the short term. He estimates Marco will miss about 3 weeks. But Dan, the Cards found no structural issues, and they feel very good about that.
It's great news to hear that. Let's hope that that's all that it is. Randall Grichuk, 2 balls, 1 strike, and a pinch hit single in the 9th inning of Game 1 of this series. Mentioned that the young man on the mound, Archie Bradley from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Warren Spahn was born in Buffalo, New York. This is well hit. Opposite way. Look at that power. Right center. Solo home run, Randall Grichuk. My goodness.
Randall's so intriguing because of what he just did. The ball jumps off his bat. Seems like every time he gets a base hit, it's going to be an extra base hit. Plays excellent defense, and it's going to be hard to keep him from getting more and more playing time. John Jay has started a rehab at Peoria today, and he'll only be there for a couple days before rejoining the club.
Back to a 2-run lead. Here's Jaime Garcia. Just to finish the point that Spahn was born in Buffalo, New York, and then raised in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Randall Grichuk, man, is that some power opposite field.
Played for Warren Spahn when the Cardinals had their AAA team in Tulsa. He was the manager there for many years.
363 wins for Warren Spahn.
Still the record for a left-hander.
So Garcia strikes out. 105 miles per hour off the bat of Randall Grichuk. Second strikeout for Archie Bradley.
And think about that one more time. The ball that Bradley took off his face traveled 5 miles or 10 miles an hour faster than it took Randall Grichuk's home run.
Here's Colton Wong.
By the way, I think the highest recording, I think maybe ever, is 120 miles off the bat of Stanton.
It's sharply to first. Goldschmidt will take it. Wong is 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. In-game highlights, look-ins, reviews, StatCast, and more, all at MLB.com at bat. For your smartphone or tablet, follow the Cardinals, MLB at bat. In steps Matt Carpenter. Matt moved out of the leadoff spot on April 28th. And it looks like Colton Wong has assumed that role for the time being. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's going to be very interesting to see the playing time for John Jay, Borges, and Grichuk.
Jason Hayward.
You know, you're right.
John Mozeliak, if I've heard him say it once, I've heard him say it 1,000 times. This is a results-driven business. You don't perform, you don't play. And right now, Randall Grichuk is making a case to at least be in the conversation of playing every day, or trying to figure out a way to get him more at bats.
And then fast forward to next year, it really complicates. You know, do you really want to re-sign Hayward, or do you want to create that much playing time or everyday spot for Randy Grichuk? Long season.
3-2. Chop to second base. Taken there by Hill. Randall Grichuk, an opposite field home run into right center. The bleachers, his second this year, RBI number 7. 5-3.
Run by Grichuk. Watch his head. Watch how steady it stays as he moves forward, but the head is right there. Now he sees the ball, and you get the extension. As you see the eyes, the point of contact, you watch the left side of his body as he opens up, but it's stiff. Still has the weight on the, going forward. It's centered over the main part of the body. All 3 Cardinal hits have been on fastballs. Toyota Keys is get geared for a fastball, and they have done so today.
And a breaking ball at 70 miles an hour from Jaime Garcia. 3rd inning, Goldschmidt, Pollock, and Tomas. Goldschmidt really a late bloomer. After his junior year in high school, no college or university showed interest in him. And his traveling coach, Mike Rutledge, had to persuade Texas State just to even take a look at him. He went there, became the Southland Player of the Year twice, and this past offseason had his number retired, and we know he's one of the best right now in the game.
And that's really not that unusual. We talk about how many guys have changed positions, but some guys just get a late start in the game. They grow into their body.
Little chopper to short. Well, Matt Carpenter, a 13th round pick in 2009, a T-Mobile game changer. Maybe he himself a late bloomer. And then you had Goldschmidt, 8th round of 2009. And obviously 2 of the better players right now in Major League Baseball.
Also think about when Cardinals drafted a guy named Albert Pujols in the 13th round. There's 2 pretty good 13th round picks. Even some clubs miss on their #1 draft picks. Cardinals have been highly successful in getting their #1s to the big leagues. But you really rate a draft when you see the bargains you get, the guys that are down on the list.
Strike to A.J. Pollock, and this year the 50th anniversary of the Major League Baseball draft. 0-1 pitch. Ground ball that's hit to second. Long. Not in time. He was in between. Should he stay back, come in? He came in, went under the glove, And that'll be the 6th there on Colton Wong, and we'll see if Mike Matheny does want to challenge. The answer is no.
No. Yeah, and you're right, but look how he kind of looks like he feels the ball back behind. As you said, he was in between, and then you see kind of said the more aggressive you are, the more your body's going to be prepared for the hop. And you can see why they didn't challenge. You lay back, let the ball play you, and that's not what Colton did there. He was, like you said, caught in between.
Usmane Tomas, and what a pick again by Molina.
Can't tell you how hard those pitches that are 4 or 5 feet out in front of the plate, how hard they are to block or stop, and God, he did that one with ease.
I think we've seen him spot the fastball a little bit better this inning. Velocity has been down a little bit tonight. Changeup struggling to locate that pitch. And that is a foul ball. They had the runner going.
You know, he's got a young club and you're trying to impress and you're in the rebuilding. You can never hustle, but this is a home run for a Met. When you talk about an MVP candidate, watch how he hustles out of the batter's box. You're going to get a half dozen hits over the course of the year just by hustling. And that's something that Chip Hale can be very proud of, that these guys are playing the game and playing it right. They may not be as talented as some of the clubs right now, but you can still out hustle people.
Trying to generate offense too. This is a club that's been aggressive on the base paths, second in the National League in stolen base attempts. They have 41 steals. That's third in the National League.
And Pollock's at first base because he hustled too.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. You wonder, with Tomas going so much to right field, would they think about the hit and run? Every scouting service or scout that you talk to, when they write their reports, or if you've read about this guy, the one word you always heard or read is power. They say that he has raw, natural power. And again, another check on Pollock.
Played 291 games in Cuba. He hit 289 with 43 home runs and 160 RBIs. Still young, mid-20s. They say he has the approach that, I know John Mabry would like it, where he really hits the ball up the middle.
The 2-1 pitch misses, 3-1.
And what you do there is you got great plate coverage. You'll get you spray a lot of balls around. A lot of will go in all directions. Balls inside, you turn on it like you did for the 2-run double in the first. But by thinking up the middle, and he has the power to hit it out dead center, he'll stay on pitches that are away, can drive those too.
Runner goes on the 3-1, and it's hit to right. That ball in the corner, and Pollock will score easily. So just what we were talking about, they start the runner on the 3-1 pitch, and Tomas with a base hit into right. He's got 2 doubles tonight. He's 2 for 2 and 3 RBIs.
He was 3 for 5 in last night's ball game, and here, as you mentioned, the damage he's done. But they picked up a easy run. The error turns into a run, and there you see the ball away, and he just stays on that and just drives it into the right field corner. However, the Cardinals are trying to pitch him, they better change.
So it's a 5-4 game. Here's Aaron Hill. Ground ball that's hit to short. Peralta looks back the runner, and he makes the play. Tuffy Gosewicz flied out to left. 2 outs, runner at second base. He played at Arizona State. Diamondbacks have had a couple of players from Arizona State. Willie Bloomquist, Jake Elmore, and now their starting catcher.
Talked a little bit last night. They really like him and his ability to handle pitching staff. Whatever he gives you offensively, it's a plus.
Miguel Montero was shipped to Chicago. He had $40 million remaining on his deal. And Gosewich, at the age of 31, becomes a starter. In the air. Shallow left field. Near the line, foul territory, and Peralta puts it away. Air by Comolong. Then the double by Tomas to score Pollock. 5-4. Al and Pat Paris will join thousands of new Army recruits and Cardinal fans at Fort Leonard Wood. The public is invited to Nutter Fieldhouse to watch the Cardinals game and the post-game show as well. Join us for This One's For You, Friday at Fort Leonard Wood. Matt Holliday, Matt Adams, Johnny Peralta for the Cardinals. Home half of the third rolls in. Not much suspense. Wondering if Holliday would make it 42 consecutive games to reach base to start the year. As he singled up the middle, picked up an RBI, and scored a run in the first.
The total has come in many different ways. Not all of them have been hits like tonight. Sometimes it's a walk, and then he's painfully 3 times he was extended via being hit by pitch.
Here's a 1-0. Wearing a brace on the left arm near the elbow where he's hit back-to-back games, and that's about as big of a brace that you can have legally now in the game. Think about Barry Bonds, Craig Biggio.
All right, they outlawed those.
Holliday into center field. That'll carry to A.J. Pollock. Krispy Kreme doesn't deal. If your Cardinals get 9 hits tonight, you're invited into Krispy Kreme tomorrow, and you'll receive a dozen of their original glazed donuts for only $3.99. So stop by one of the 4 St. Louis area Krispy Kreme locations for this sensational deal. The Cardinals with 6 hits already here tonight.
See the shortstop, Ahmed, coming in, is the only infielder on the left side of the infield. Last night, yesterday afternoon, Matt Adams dropped down a bunt for a base hit to the delight of his manager.
Andy Green, who works down in the dugout with the infielders of the Arizona Diamondbacks. He was a manager at AA Mobile, and he actually used shifting in the minors with the D-backs. This may drop against the shift, And a diving catch, and what a play by Inciarte to take a hit away.
Well, that's one thing, too, that these young Diamondbacks, not only do they hustle on the base paths, but they got some outfielders that can really cover some ground. Very good defensive. Inciarte is one of them. Pollock's another. And there was a nice play. It looked like, almost like a sure hit, but Inciarte said, no, sir.
And Andy Green now would actually use the shift at Double-A without computers, without printouts, without video. He kept a personal log of the players that they would face, very similar to what Dave Duncan used to do in the Cardinals dugout. And he said he began doing that after watching Craig Counsell shift, when it wasn't even called a shift, defensively from pitch to pitch. He said once he saw Counsell do that, he said, why am I not doing this with others? And that's when it began in the Arizona farm system.
Well, it's probably been at least 50 years that they would mark each pitcher a different color.
0-2 pitch on a couple of hops to second base, and Peralta retired.
And just show where the hitter hits the ball and develop those patterns.
Diamondbacks, fourth walk-off homer of Johnny Peralta's career, all coming as a shortstop. The AT&T U-verse rewind. It's the most walk-off homers as a shortstop among active players, which may surprise you. One ahead of Asdrubal Cabrera and ARI. DH and third baseman, occasional first baseman of the Yankees.
Put his numbers, and they're going to look very, very well up against any shortstop in the National League right now. Johnny's become a very good player.
Both eighth place hitters have homered here tonight. Ahmed, first pitch to his counterpart at short. Peralta makes the play. One down, and it brings in Archie Bradley. Certainly not flashy at short. Makes the routine plays and has been what the Cardinals expected when they signed him.
I think he's been more. I mean, as you said, defensively, he's shown a little more range than what the Cardinals, or what other people said, because you said the Cardinals had, they gave a higher value to Johnny's defense than most people, but offensively, he has been outstanding. Just a very calming, steady influence in the clubhouse.
1 strike on Archie Bradley. Was called out on strikes back in the second. Jaime has struck out 3 tonight. We forget Garcia is only 28 years old, making his second start after missing the first 40 games, recovering from thoracic outlet surgery. Also had a cleanup surgery, he was telling me, in the front of the shoulder area. And that's a base hit into right field for the pitcher. What they do, they actually remove the top rib to alleviate pressure on the shoulder. Chris Carpenter had that.
Yeah. Some of that little minor cleanup stuff is labrum and rotator cuff surgery before he had the ribs surgery.
Inciarte is lined out to third, singled to center field.
You know, the shoulders still are a work in progress. You just don't bounce back from them like you do from Tommy John.
Inciarte was signed as an international free agent out of Venezuela. That was by the Diamondbacks, and then in 2012 the Phillies picked him up in the Rule 5 draft as a backup. He remained with the Phillies for just one game. Low throw. Nice play by Peralta as they get the lead man. After that one game for Inciarte, he was back with the Diamondbacks as they reclaimed him.
Usually a club, when you draft a Rule 5 pick at the major league level, you pay $50,000 to the losing franchise. If you offer him back, in this case Arizona can buy him back for half the price. Otherwise you have to keep that player in the major league roster the entire year, and sometimes, you know, you really like the guy but you just don't want to impede his progress by keeping him on the bench. Of course, we've seen, you know, I think not about Arte, he could, you know, could play defense, he could pitch, run, he could do some of those things, but he retard the growth.
Inciarte with 6 stolen bases, standing at first base, 2 outs. They pitch out, and those 6 steals, only 3rd on the team. Goldschmidt with 8, Pollock has 10. Outfield is deep, and here's the 1-0. Runner goes, chance for Molina, down to second. Quick tag by Wong. Diamondbacks have attempted 18 steals against Molina in his career. He's now caught 8. this game combined. Let's check in with Jim Hayes.
And Matt Adams had attempted it a few times last night in the fourth. He did it. He beat the shift with a bunt base hit. Adams said prior to successfully laying down a bunt at spring training, which he felt very good about, his last successful bunt came when he was playing college baseball at Slippery Rock. It was supposed to be a sacrifice bunt, but he pulled it too much and wound up beating it out for a base hit. I asked Matt if he got any special satisfaction last night by bunting to beat the shift. He said absolutely. He told me, I don't think you could miss the big smile on my face. Dan, just another way to keep opposing defenses honest.
The 2-0 to Molina. So he was quite proud, huh, Jimmy?
Well, he was proud that he did get a bunt down in spring training. He says the biggest thing for him is staying in the box as he's trying to make contact with the pitch. He said last night he got a fastball, which kind of helped him out.
Right now, Al, a little bit in between. It looked like he was coming out of that funk. And in New York, had a couple of good games. And again, in between now in this series with Arizona. 3-1.
Yeah, you hoped, when he got the 2 doubles on Sunday, that would give him a good start.
3-1 pitch to Molina. Base hit to left. So back to Matt Adams, game 1.
As you said, he got a fastball there, but look at the good form. He just didn't stab at it, let the bat come to him, have soft hands so it deadens the ball. But he pushed it down the third base line just enough. They got it by the pitcher and the shortstop, the only infielder on the left side, got to the ball, but just had to put it in his pocket.
Love seeing that super slow-mo reaction off the bat or a catch that's made from a catcher. You see the glove literally, it's popping back.
See that Gosewicz has tried to work with Bradley, tried to get him to throw more of the off-speed pitches, but just doesn't throw enough of them in the strike zone that they can keep on looking fastball.
Hayward and a double play ball. No, bobbled by Hill. He'll get the lead man, Molina. Taylor made 4-6-3, and both second basemen have committed errors tonight. Aaron Hill, his second here in 2015. Here's Randall Grichuk, who is homered. We've seen some hard hit balls. 105 off the bat of Grichuk, Trumbo, Pollock, Holiday, all in triple digits. And Yasmani Tomas, we round up, and he's at 100.
Those are all above the major league average.
Check on Hayward. There's 4 steals this year. Both number 8 hitters have hit a home run. Last time that happened in St. Louis was just last year. Zach Cozart, Tony Cruz. It's only happened 10 times going back to 2000.
That's last time 8th place hitter hit multi-home run game. Get you looking for that after this one.
Hayward is running, and a throw down to second base. Save. Stole a base number 5 for Jason Hayward.
Cardinals don't have a very high percentage of successful steals. Only Hayward is 5-0. 5 for 5 in the steal department. The Cardinals, that's only their 18th steal, and they've been caught 13 times.
Diamondbacks made the Cardinals pay for the error. Run that scored. The double hit down the right field line. Let's see if Grichuk can make the Diamondbacks pay. Here's a 1-0. 2 balls and no strikes.
And there's a curve ball that a lot of times you just cast it out there and just doesn't, at this stage, pull it down for it to really be an effective pitch, to mean something to a hitter. 9-2-0.
And that's a base hit out to left. Hayward being waved in. Throw by Inciarte cut off. Randall Grichuk with his second RBI, and he's 2 for 2.
Got a change up, but it looked like it was up. Kind of telegraphed it, hit it hard. I thought if Tomas didn't cut that ball up, I thought they had a shot at the plate.
It's a club a year ago in outfield assists. They were one shy of their team record, franchise record.
It's a little bit up the line, and that's probably why Tomas cuts it off, or heard from his catcher. Watch the catcher's going to his right, so it would have probably left the home plate open to Hayward.
So the misplay by Hill, not an error, because they did get a force play on it at second base, but Taylor made double play.
Yeah, Taylor made double play, and difference here. Garcia hitting, Nuno up in the bullpen, the lefty that they brought up today, up for the second time. Showed the soft hands of Matt Adams trying to bunt. There you saw a bad attempt by Garcia, just stabbing at the ball.
So one out, runner at first base. That's Grichuk.
I think he can swing the bat a little bit. I mean,
Yes, he can.
He's been out of practice, but
Randall Grichuk now up to 8 RBIs this year. Solo home run back in the second. RBI single to left. Eight RBIs in just his 17th game. That pitch taken up and in.
Dan, it's 5 doubles, 2 triples, 2 home runs now. So the abundance of his hits are all extra base hits and hard, and can play a very good defense on top of it. So it's going to be hard to keep him out of the lineup.
Here's a 1-1. Grichuk to second, and he is safe. Stolen base, Randall Grichuk. It's another aspect of his game.
It's his first steal and his first attempt. Grichuk gets a good jump, and that's another aspect. Maybe a young pitcher that you dominate in the minor leagues, and through your high school days, you're not used to having a lot of guys on base or guys running against you, and you don't have a quick time to the plate.
Garcia swing and a miss. They'll throw down to first. Third strikeout for Archie Bradley. Every Tuesday during the regular season, fans can purchase a special themed ticket to Bud Bash and get an exclusive bobblehead and autographs of the '85 National League champion Cardinals. Don't miss June 2nd. That's Danny Cox. For a full schedule of players or to purchase tickets, just head to cardinals.com/budbash.
Don Worrell tonight, and Mike Matheny caught him in the ceremonial first pitch.
Todd Worrell, former Rookie of the Year back in 1986. That was the last time the Cardinals this early in the season had played in 8 extra inning games. 1986. That team finished under 500.
One of those odd situations where Todd was a World Series hero and closer for the National League champions in '85, and then won the Rookie of the Year the next year. Came up really so late in the season he didn't have enough innings pitched.
36 saves that year for Todd Worrell. Garcia struck out. Now it's Wong, and Grichuk back to the bag at second. That's when Whitey used to be awfully creative with Todd Worrell. He'd put him in the outfield, get a matchup he wanted.
And Daly, well, you know, Whitey saw that Todd loved to power shag during batting practice. He'd be out in center field and he would just play every ball off the bat. And that's what gave him the idea that maybe a tough left-hander, he'd use Ken Daly, but you know, he'd had Todd in the game. He'd tough left-hander come up, he'd bring in Daly, put Todd in the outfield. Daly would get the lefty out, and then he'd bring Todd back to the mound.
3-1 pitch. I remember when Whitey did that in the league championship series against the Giants. He put Worrell in the outfield for 2/3 of an inning as Chip Hale has the slow walk out to the mound. That's the third walk issued by Archie Bradley.
And Nuno will be coming in.
Vidal Nuno coming on, a left-hander just added today. Bottom of the fourth and 2 outs. Vidal Nuno, who has seen major league time with the New York Yankees. He was involved in the Brandon McCarthy deal last year and pitched very well with Arizona. So he's called up. He's made 1 appearance this year. Burgos went on the disabled list, the right-hander, tendonitis in his shoulder. And so Nuno gets the call. And with 2 outs and 2 on, Chip Hale wasting no time. He wants a lefty-lefty matchup here with Matt Carpenter.
And then last year, after being with New York, Nuno comes to Arizona. He made 14 starts. He was 0-7, but he had a good ERA at 3.76. Made 31 starts out of his 36 major league appearances prior to this year.
Matt Carpenter has walked and scored, grounded out to second. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1. 1 and 2. Holiday on deck.
And Nuno had 1 appearances earlier this year. Just a 6 2/3 innings in relief. Truly a long man.
Ooh, doesn't get the call. A.J. Pollock now moving into the gap in left center. The center fielder, the 2-2. Late swing by Carpenter. He strikes out. Nuno comes in, hits the strikeout. Riching, though, adds to the lead at 6-4. If you're the Arizona Diamondbacks, you have to be concerned with what you've gotten out of Archie Bradley now after that scary moment against Colorado. 10 2/3 in his 3 starts, 14 runs, 8 strikeouts, 14 runs all earned. First 3 starts combined, he had 11 strikeouts. All the runs, lack of control. Young guy, you hope he gets it right. Hope he is able to relax after being hit. But you wonder if that's a major factor at this point.
Well, I think, it's nothing to be embarrassed about if you have to go up and down. It happens to everybody. And right now, I think he needs to go down and perfect the off-speed pitches. I know he's worked with Dave Duncan, their senior advisor, on a changeup. But he's also got to go down and get that curveball to where he can consistently throw it for strikes. Just give the hitter something else to think about.
Here's a 1-1 to Mark Trumbo. Left standing at the plate back in the top of the 4th. Inciarte was caught stealing.
One of the things that from Bradley, I was a little surprised I didn't see a better fastball.
2-1. How would you assess Garcia here tonight?
It's real difficult to do that right now because we want to be optimistic. The most important thing is he's on the mound. The most important thing is how does he feel tomorrow. But he's competing. Obviously, he has the run support tonight that has allowed him to have a lead and has kept him in the game. That's what you want to see right there. Some more off-speed pitches. Hasn't kept the ball down as consistent. He's facing a much better offensive club than he did in New York.
That was a start that Jacob deGrom made against St. Louis, and he and Matt Harvey were awfully impressive in that series.
Sure were.
4 strikeout for Garcia and a breaking ball to Paul Goldschmidt. Been called out on strikes and also grounded out to short.
Use that little breaking ball, the curveball, to get ahead of a count.
0-1 pitch. Pulled foul.
He's been behind the count a lot. And of course, he's
here's the 0-2. Got him. Strikeout of Goldschmidt. 5 tonight for Jaime Garcia. Saturday, June 13th. Walk home with a Cardinals pet leash. Compliments of Nestle Purina. They're available to 25,000 pet lovers ages 16 and older. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
you talk about Garcia, and then you say the best player the Diamondbacks is Goldschmidt, an MVP candidate, and he's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. So he's doing, Jaime's doing something that he can still do those, get a lot of swing and misses.
B.J. Pollock reached on an error and scored in the 3rd, and doubled and scored in the 1st. That's taken just a bit low. Pollock very good from the leadoff spot the last 17 games of the 2014 season. 14 extra base hits, scored a ton of runs. The thinking was that you may see him at the top of this lineup.
What I have liked too is the last couple innings, Jaime's gotten better, keeping the ball down.
And there's a ground ball to Colton Wong. 1-2-3 inning for Jaime Garcia. Bottom of 5 rolls in when we come back. For the cure on Saturday, June 13th. All team members receive a special team hat and are invited to enjoy special pre-race activities, which include a meet and greet with Louis, music, and more. For more information, just head to stlouisblues.com. Here's Holiday. Ken Hitchcock, Blues head coach, coming back for one more year. That was announced today. Holiday is singled up the middle and lined to center field. a strikeout of Holiday, so Vidal Nuno has come in and struck out Carpenter. Now Holiday back-to-back. What's on tap brought to you by Budweiser will come your way at 6:30 for the pregame show. It'll be Cole Mentor against Lynn. Lynn 3-4. Cole Mentor 3-5. Diamondbacks and Cardinals wrap up the series.
Nuno is one of those late bloomers too. He's from National City, California, just south of San Diego. Listed at 5'11", 210. He went to Baker University in Baldwin City, Kansas. He was just the second player to ever be drafted and make to the major leagues. And that'd have been nice. Could have steered that one fair.
Arizona, you're thinking about Nuno, I would assume, potentially making a start with a struggling Bradley.
Like I said, he made 14 starts last year for Arizona.
That's hit down the right field line as Adams turned on the pitch, and it's off the base of the wall. And Adams is hurt.
Hamstring, something calf.
Rounding first, you could see him come up lame, and he is hurt undoubtedly. Chris Conroy, part of the training staff for the Cardinals. Well, you hope it's just a cramp. Man, oh man.
Danny, this game is so funny. Every time you think there's a potential roster move to make and you think it's going to be a tough decision, you know, that really all of a sudden somebody will injure themselves. Watch right there. As it kind of grabs the quad. Reynolds will run for him and obviously stay in the game.
So a double for Adams, who was also robbed earlier in the game with a diving catch by Inciarte. And, you know, he took the turn around first base, looked to be harmless.
Yeah, it didn't look like he tripped or anything, but he got a little bit around there and he kind of grabs the quad, maybe a little semi-misstep, but as you saw him walking off the field, he looked a little better. Nobody's helping him down those steps, so maybe it was just something that just grabbed him, and he'll get some treatment on it. And I don't want to speculate and say, but it's amazing every time there's a roster move to be made in a day or two that you don't have to make it because somebody else will come up injured.
Strike to Johnny Peralta. So one out double by Adams. Mark Reynolds now the pinch runner for the Cardinals. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Cardinals on their bench now. Tony Cruz, Pete Kozma, Peter Borges.
The Cardinals facing this little lefty that was 0-7 in 14 starts last year for Arizona, but a 3.76 ERA.
That's pulled foul. Keep watching Reynolds at second base. Cardinals runner just trying to get stretched out, get loose as he comes in cold.
Very, very comfortable night. Not like in a month or so where we're going to just step out on the field and you'll be ready and loose.
1-2 pitch in the dirt. 2-2. Peralta with a double into the right field corner that scored 2 back in the first. He's also grounded out to second.
Time tonight we're going to show you why he has been so valuable.
He's still alive.
And why his signing might have been controversial at one point, but look at these numbers now. You'll have to say the way he ranks around shortstops since last season, he's been a bargain. Tied for first in home runs at 28. Remember, he set a franchise record last year with 21.
And this time, Gozowish holds on. Chevy Fox strikes.
A little late break on the ball, and Munoz faced 4 batters, 3 strikeouts, and a double.
Here's Yadier Molina. He was robbed by Tomas at third, but a run did score. That was in the first inning, and also single to left. Even though he does not have any home runs this year, the Cardinals do believe that Molina is driving the ball a little bit better than what we saw earlier this season.
Got 19 RBIs.
No balls, 2 strikes.
Hitting 289, so as long as you're driving in runs, getting your doubles, stuff, you can live with a low home run total. And you probably won't be talking about a low total in a couple months.
Waves at it, wants to slam the bat, doesn't do it. The lefty strikes out the side. Cardinals lefty back to work. $66, 8 gallons or more now until September 24th, and receive up to 50% off a pair of tickets to a Cardinals home game. For more information, visit cardinals.com/Phillips66. Another big crowd here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, where the Cardinals have the lead of 6-4. Garcia pitching at least into the 6th.
Generations come here to watch Cardinal baseball. And Garcia retired 4 in a row. Had his first 1-2-3 inning in the 5th. I'll keep a close eye on him, but it'd be sure nice to see him get through this 6th inning.
Here's Tomas, and he looks at a strike.
And that was one of the other big benefits of last night's game with Martinez, was having him pitch so effectively in 7 innings that you didn't take a tax on the bullpen. Villanueva, you know, is the long man is available. He does need to work on his hitting. Don't swing so hard.
Here's an 0-2 pitch coming to Yasmani Tomas, who is 2 for 2 with a pair of doubles and 3 RBIs. Molina sets up inside. Hit to short, backhanded by Peralta to Mark Reynolds. We forget he had back-to-back 13-win seasons in 2010 and 11. John Tudor, Harry Brackeen, and Jaime Garcia, Cards left-handed starters since 1914, and the highest winning percentage. How about that for Garcia to be on that list?
I've always said that when he's healthy, you know, he wins.
Strike 2, Aaron Hill.
But you can kind of see that little late movement, and he's kind of worn himself down a little bit, and now he's throwing a little more freer.
And a base hit to left. So Hill is 1 for 3, just past the outstretched arm and glove of Carpenter.
No, forget about the base hit. He keeps the ball down. He breaks the bat, hits it off the end of the bat. It just finds a hole. Make that same pitch, and you get a double play, and you're out of the inning.
Diamondbacks feel they're only a year or two away from being very good. They like what they have in their minor league system. We've seen some of the young talent on display here in this series already. You know, the anchor of all this is Goldschmidt. He's going to be around for a while. He's locked up long term. They believe that Chip Hale has been the right choice for them, with Tony La Russa and Dave Stewart.
Oh, he's got a lot of managerial experience too. And he's been at the big league level as a coach, several different stops and minor league managing days.
Slowly hit towards first. Garcia can't make the play. Trying to barehand it. Runner on his way from second to third. So instead of getting the out, it stays just 1 out and runners at the corners. What an opportunity here for the Diamondbacks.
Well, the Cardinals have kind of got 6-run. You know, they lead 6-4, but they've kind of gotten. You need to keep that offense grinding. Took his eye off it when he was trying to find the base. He loses contact with it, and Hill alertly, seeing that the ball gets away, he goes to third base, and they have runners at the corner, and all of a sudden, potential go-ahead run standing at home plate. Quest.
Well, you have the 8th place hitter here who is homered. It was a solo shot back in the second as Manus is getting loose in the pen.
The job he did last night.
And you'd have to figure it is a short leash for Jaime Garcia. Manus came in yesterday with 2 runners on, nobody out, and nobody scored. That 2-2 tie game. It's an error just ruled. So the second error committed by the Cardinals. And Nick Ahmed, 1 out, runners at first and third.
They called it a hit and an error. And they go to the third base is the error, but is it on the pitcher or is it on the first baseman with the flip? And they give it to Reynolds. Tough error there.
Did Garcia get that double play? 4 of them turned behind him in New York. First start of the season, 1 ball, 1 strike.
This is where you really want to see him. You know, he's nearing the end of his rope. You want to see him really get aggressive here and under control, but really just sit there and make sure they don't get that 5th run. Sure, it's still a 2-run lead when the Cardinals take the dugout. Ground ball pitcher.
1-1. There's your ground ball hit to short. 6, 4, 3. Double play. Just $1.99 at McDonald's. Nuno came in back in the 4th inning. Since that time, he has faced 5, struck out 4, allowed a double to Matt Adams, who was then lifted because of injury. We don't know the extent of a leg injury. Don't want to guess. We'll find out after the game, if not before. This ball game comes to a close as Hayward is trying to drop down a bunt. Stole a base back in the 4th and then scored on a single by Randall Grichuk. Hayward now has stolen 16 straight bases. That's the longest current streak in the big leagues without being caught. Oh, up and into Hayward.
See, where's that face shield where he was hit in the face a couple of years ago? So always good to see him be able to react and get out of there and turn away from the ball.
Hayward was hit by Jonathan Neese of the Mets a couple years ago. Multiple fractures of the jaw. Wired shut. Lost weight. To his credit, he was back within a month. Here's a 2-2 pitch. And he went. Strikeout of Hayward. How about Nuno? He's come in and struck out 5 now of the 6 he's seen.
I think maybe 5 days from now we might see where Nuno is the starting pitcher for Arizona. He was starting in the minor leagues. He started last year, and he's come in here and just thrown strikes, but unhittable strikes. Got 5 of 6, just the double by Adams, the only blemish, and he stranded him.
He's pitching in the minor leagues with the Reno Aces of AAA, where his catchers were Matt Pagnazzi and Jared Saltalamacchia.
How about Saltalamacchia's decline?
He's in year 2 of a 3-year big deal, $21 million with the Miami Marlins.
They just let him go a couple of weeks ago, and Arizona's picked him up.
One ball and 2 strikes. Randall Grichuk, a solo home run in the 2nd. Single to left, stole a base in the 4th. Reports today that Brett Butler, third base coach of the Marlins, is going to be let go. Dan Jennings, the new manager. Boy, and he's really turned it around. They're playing great baseball. 2-2 has popped up. Goldschmidt. He's got it for out number 2.
Moral victory, put the ball in play. But, you know, Arizona was in Miami when that happened, I believe. And they won 4 straight games, and then they said they carried that momentum. Came home and beat, or just recently, but they beat the Cubbies 2 out of 3. And they thought like they had a little momentum coming into St. Louis yesterday. So Cardinals kind of bucked a trend winning the first game of a 3-game series yesterday.
Cubs win in a walk-off tonight over Washington. So as we speak, they are 4 back of St. Louis. Really, this time of the year, should get a look at Matt Belisle. The pinch hitters Pete Kozma. Kind of the measuring point of the season is Memorial Day. Washington, St. Louis, and the LA Dodgers all leading their respective divisions.
And we kind of think that those 3 clubs have a chance to stay in first place all season long. 3 of the favorites.
Kozma 0 for 3 as a pinch hitter. A fly ball lifted down the right field line, and the catch is made. 1, 2, 3 go the Cardinals. We head to the 7th. Matt Belisle coming on when we come back. At DraftKings.com, enter the promo code CARDS. Yasmani Tomas, Matt Duffy, Chris Bryant, Jorge Soler. Highest average for National League rookies. Minimum 100 ABs. Cardinals as we move to the top of the 7th with a lead of 6-4. And Matt Belisle comes on for St. Louis. We had a couple of fans that decided to make their way onto the field. They're being escorted off. Al was very disappointed they were not streaking.
And I'm old enough to remember when the streaking did happen, and remember one night in Houston where it was a young lady.
Things are looking up in this story. The kissing bandit. Who was that?
Morgana.
Yeah. She ever come out and kiss you?
No. I guess she liked chewing tobacco. She liked George Brett.
She loved George Brett.
Well, George was at least single.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. And a strike to Cliff Pennington. So here we are, 7th inning. Matt Belisle. Pennington, the pinch hitter for Arizona. He's a switch hitter.
There was one night in Montreal, though, Danny, with old Jerry Park. That a young man was streaking, and security guards took him. And they said, I guess you're proud of yourself, and they let him out downtown Montreal with no clothes on.
Chilly. Was it the middle of the summer? Was it?
I don't think it really mattered. I think it was more the summer, but
well, if it was
still,
April, it'd be awfully cold.
Yeah, but
either way,
where are you going to go?
Right, either way. Two balls, two strikes, and a base hit to left. Hit a home run with the Hilton St. Louis at the ballpark at St. Louis Union Station Hotel. Choose from one of our Cardinals baseball packages and score for your team. Head to HiltonSt.Louis.com or call 314-421-1776.
Actually have some of our relievers right now that are going to be a little rusty because of lack of work. Either you're complaining about too much or you're not getting enough.
A bunt. Belisle steps, throws, and just got him. They get Inciarte, who could fly down the line. Runner advances to second base, and it brings in Mark Trumbo.
Inciarte dropped that bunt down, and Belisle, who's very athletic, pounces on it, but it was no time to spare there. Those get Pennington into scoring position. And you'd have to think that Chip Hale and the Arizona has the guys up that they want right now.
And a fly ball lifted to right. Backing up Hayward to come into a position to throw, and shows off the tremendous arm from right field. Never get sick of watching that.
But Danny, we just don't even see enough guys do it the right way, and that was the right way. As you said, goes back on the ball so he can get his momentum coming forward and get behind the throw. But if you got an arm, show it and come in there and just assume that they're going to be tagging up and running. Don't be caught flat-footed. Always do it like that, and you'll never be caught flat-footed.
Question is here for the Cardinals. First base open. Does Goldschmidt get a pitch to hit?
He's had success against Belisle with a .364 average, 4 for 11.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Paul Goldschmidt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hyundai pitch arsenal. Fastball, slider, changeup primarily, the occasional curveball.
You kind of see him as really the fastball, slider.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Be careful here. In the dirt. Now you run the risk of bringing the go-ahead run to the plate, the tying runs on base. Would you rather do that and face Pollock or deal with Goldschmidt here?
Pick your poison.
12 home runs with Goldschmidt. He's 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts.
Pollock's 0 for 1 against Belisle, so no track record there. And
3-1.
I think it's one of those situations where Mike Matheny, and I like this, is that he trusts his veteran relievers, and he also trusts Molina. And now they were going to pitch to him, see off the plate, see if he would bite and get himself out. But now it's a hitter's count. They'll go ahead and complete the walk and put him on. But before that time, he's going to trust his veteran guy and his catcher that really knows how to call a game and will tell those guys, don't throw a strike. See if they'll widen the plate, see if they'll get themselves out. And then when it's 3-1, you don't take any chance.
So first and second for A.J. Pollock. Two runs scored for A.J. He has 4 home runs.
If you're going to do that, though, you got to make sure you get the next guy out. And just to put up 4 fingers, and you almost, it's a negative. You're telling your pitcher you can't get the guy out. So I think it's another positive by telling your reliever, all right, go ahead and try. See if he'll get himself out, and he won't, we'll complete the walk.
1-0 pitch. 2 balls, no strikes. We get word on Matt Adams. Left the game with a strained right quad. And hopefully find out more with Jim in the clubhouse after the game with Matt.
Kind of makes sense as he trying to grab the top of his right thigh.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. Inside 3-0. Tomas is on deck, who has a pair of doubles and 3 RBIs.
Ball mine 3-0, but the way Tomas is swinging the bat, I think Yachty wants to tell Belisle to go after this guy. Dan, here's where I'm talking about Belisle. In the week of May 19th to the 25th, Belisle made no appearances.
Prior to that, had been used a ton.
Yeah, and you get to a situation where a lot of people think it's real simple. Oh, I'll just have to do a bullpen, throw on the side of the bullpen. But there's nothing like being on the mound with 40,000 people and the game on the line. It's a completely different experience. But that's the life of a reliever, either too much work or not enough.
Maine is throwing in the pen. Here's a 3-0 pitch. And he walked him. Bases loaded now for the Diamondbacks. Derek Lilliquist out to visit.
Real simple. Bases are loaded, 2 outs. Get the hitter. Sometimes you just sit there and say, look, don't be too fine. Just trust your stuff. A lot of people don't really understand that terminology, but it's really just saying, I believe in you, so you should believe in yourself.
Part of this too is, you've got Belisle, a veteran, with a slider, or do you go with the sinker of Manus with Tomas? Have we seen enough of him, or the video of him to figure out what type of pitcher can get him out? 2 outs, bases loaded.
Yeah, we always talk about it. The first time a hitter sees a pitcher, usually the advantage is with the pitcher. Tomas didn't have any trouble with Jaime the first time I saw him tonight. First 2 times.
0-1 pitch. Now 0-2. Belial has very good control for the most part. Occasionally you'll see him miss, but this would be the kind of situation with a young hitter, aggressive, maybe with that slider on the outer half, he can get him to chase. At 3 2/3. Tomas 2 for 4. Jaime Garcia chance at a win tonight. Randall Grichuk 2 for 3 with a home run and a pair of RBIs. The Gateway Honda home run inning. If a Cardinals player hits a home run, the Gateway Honda dealers will donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Our Chevy call to the pen. Daniel Hudson, right-hander, is in for Arizona.
Nice job by Nuno. 2 1/3 innings, 1 hit allowed, 5 strikeouts.
Here's Colton Wong and a big cut, swing and a miss. Pair of walks tonight, runs scored. Among National League second basemen coming into play tonight, Colton first in home runs, runs scored, slugging percentage. Second in RBIs, hits, and extra base hits. He has had a terrific start to this season. I was talking with him before the game, and it's what we have said time and again just watching him. He said, if I can just keep my emotions in check, relax, let my abilities come out, I believe I can be one of the better players in the league. It's true for most, but it seems to be very true for Colton Wong.
Daniel Hudson only had 3 outings at the big league level last year, coming off Tommy John surgery. And he's pitched well this season. Held opponents scoreless in 5 of his last 6 outings. Returned from 2 Tommy John surgeries.
It's becoming more prevalent in the game now, where you see a pitcher have Tommy John when he's 19, 20, if not even before that in high school. Then they get into pro ball and have a second Tommy John and make it back from them. So Wong strikes out. Here's Carpenter, who has grounded out to second, walked and scored in the first, and struck out back in the fourth.
If I'm reading this right, you know, Hudson really, he had his first one in 2012 and then his second one in 2014. You might question whether the first one was successful. But you're right about the others, that sometimes now guys have gotten that new ligament and been so successful that they wear out the second one.
Nuno came in with 2 outs and 2 on in the fourth. Struck out Carpenter. Struck out 5 total. Carpenter lines it 2 short, and there's 2 down. Just thinking ahead here in this game with Mike Matheny, you wonder who's got the 8th, who's got the 9th.
I remember Seagrass had a rough outing yesterday, but so he's thrown Sunday and Monday, or yeah, Sunday and Monday. Same thing for Rosenthal, but Rosenthal only threw 18 pitches for his 2 innings for the victory yesterday. Now, usually they will go to make the rounds during batting practice, ask the relievers after they played a little catch, how do you feel? I'm sure if you asked Rosenthal how he felt in another save situation, he'd say, I feel fine. And wait and see if that's determined.
Here's a 1-0 pitch, and Holiday hits it out of play.
Manus was so good yesterday cleaning up the 8th inning from Seagrass, keeping it a tie as he inherited no outs and 2 runners on. I know Mike would like to get Seagrass back out there as soon as possible, but he throws Sunday and Monday also, so I think, you know, you give him a day off, but tell him you haven't lost your confidence.
Strikeout, or no, rather strike 2, excuse me, on Holiday. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hudson throwing hard. He's been mid-90s since he came into the ball game here in the bottom of the 7th. Arizona will have 6, 7, and 8 coming up in their lineup. And the 1-2 pitch. Out of play.
Talking about Tommy John surgeries, we mentioned the Dark Knight, Matt Harvey. Well, a lot of times they'll take a ligament from your non-throwing arm out of the wrist and use that to.
That's ripped into left center field. Extra bases coming up for Holiday. 2-hit night for Matt. Now he's thinking 3. Now he's run into an out. Trying to deke the outfield of the Diamondbacks. Little confusion out there as well. Who's going to grab it? Inciarte did. Holiday then tried to take 3rd. West. Let's head to our studio with a Bommarito Sports Update and Pat Paris. Addison Russell, his first career walk-off hit. 3-2 win for the Cubbies. Second inning of work for Matt Belisle.
With the fact that Rosenthal and Seager's thrown the last 2 games, you kind of sit there and you can understand why Mike Matheny is leaving Belisle in for a second inning. And that's one of the things that they said when they signed him, that he was capable of going more than 1 inning. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him close out a game one time or more.
It's a good slider and a strikeout for Belisle. Back-to-back Ks. First in the 7th, and this one to start the 8th. This one very sharp.
Well, look at how far Yachty set up outside there, just saying, okay, we're going to throw it out there and see if we can get him to go fishing. And he found an empty pool.
It floats in at 75 miles an hour.
That looked like the curveball and kind of a get-ahead pitch. Not one you'd want to throw late in a count.
Molina setting up outside again. There's your ground ball. Got him to reach. Gosewish is out, number 2. Good work so far for Matt Belisle. 3 times this year he's pitched more than an inning. And the last time that it happened was the long extra inning game against the Mets this past road trip.
You got Mayness backing him up, but might be a game 2 where you just sit there and you like what you're seeing from Belisle, particularly this inning. You say, okay, let him go a third.
Mayness is now up for the 3rd time tonight.
And he's smart enough. You can see that he's not throwing very often. And with 2 outs, you don't need him to get a double play this inning.
1 ball, no strikes on Nick Ahmed, who homered earlier tonight. Also has bounced into a double play and grounded out to short. Jaime Garcia, 6 innings for the Cardinals. Belisle so far an inning and 2/3. Cardinals trying to become the first team to reach 30 wins this year. Down the right field line and a fair ball into the corner. Ahmed to second base, and he'll stop there.
Never get tired of seeing somebody leave the batter's box the right way. He's got the play in front of him. He's thinking 2 all the way, and he knows he's got it. He's thinking about 3 at that point, but down by 2, you got 2 outs. You can't afford to get thrown out at third base. So with his speed, he can score from second base.
Here's David Peralta as the pinch hitter. The Diamondbacks Rookie of the Year last season. Mentioned his story beginning with the St. Louis Cardinals. Drafted as a pitcher. Cardinals released him because of shoulder injuries. Returned to his native Venezuela. Vowed to make it back as a position player, and he has done it. Multiple stops, various places in the independent league. And now here he is in the big leagues. And credit Tony La Russa. Tony went and saw him at Double-A ball last year and said, bring him up now. I want to see him up in the major leagues.
That's a great story. And yesterday he started the game and batting 4th. So it's not just the 25th guy on the roster. He's part of their rotation in the outfield. The left-hander starting tonight, Jaime Garcia. He sat, but now he's up in a crucial part of the game.
He represents the tying run. 0-2 the count.
Cardinals didn't have showed up just as protection. Randy hasn't pitched in the last 4 days.
On the bench now for Arizona, Owings and Pacheco. Got him. Strikeout of Peralta. What a job by Matt Belisle. 2 scoreless innings, 3 strikeouts, and he sends us to the bottom of the 8th. Carved up Peralta, 3 pitches. Caught him looking. Cardinals on top. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Beautiful night for baseball here in St. Louis. The Cardinals have a lead of 6-4 as we move to the bottom of the 8th. Began the year as the closer for the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's Addison Reed.
Now a bullpen by committee. Reed, only 3 appearances against the Cardinals prior to this year, and they've never scored upon him. Reed had 32 saves last season, his first with Arizona, and he's tied for 4th on the D-back single season list with J.J. Putz for saves.
Well, the Diamondbacks know Mark Reynolds quite well. They drafted him in the 16th round back in 2004. And he came up with Arizona. Had some big seasons. One year he had 44 home runs, 102 RBIs. That was in 2009. That pitch taken low, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. At that point in time, he was an everyday third baseman with the Arizona Diamondbacks. All the runs allowed by Reed, 10 this year, have been earned. He's walked 9 in just over 15 innings of work, and they say his control has been an issue. Now Chip Hale will use him in the 8th inning. He'll use him in extra innings. But at this point, as they still work through some mechanical issues, you won't see him in games to close them out.
He's still only 26 years of age. Had over 100 saves since 2012.
There's a broken bat, and it's hit to Goldschmidt. Next month, the FIFA Women's World Cup begins as Alex Morgan leads the U.S. women's national team against the best teams in the world in search of their third World Cup title. The only place you can see it is on Fox and Fox Sports 1 beginning June 6th.
It's a good U.S. team, too.
Here's Johnny Peralta. Addison Reed was with the Chicago White Sox at one point in his career. Third-round pick in 2010 out of San Diego State, where he pitched for Tony Gwynn.
Well, there you see a little bit of what you're talking about, that lack of command, but it also can be an effective. Put a little fear in hitters when you're standing in the batter's box with somebody that throws hard and doesn't have great command.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. Strike two, Peralta. Double into the right field corner back in the first to score two. Grounded out to second. And also struck out in the fifth.
Peralta's 3 for 5 against Reed.
Reed is the fourth pitcher used by the Diamondbacks tonight. Began with Archie Bradley, lasted 3 2/3. Nuno, the lefty, came out of their pen. He was impressive. Then Hudson in the 7th, and now Reed here in the 8th.
Nuno struck out 5 7 batters.
3-2 pitch, and a base hit for Peralta. 2-hit night for Johnny Peralta.
It wouldn't hurt if the Cardinals were to add on a couple more insurance runs. Johnny now 4 for 6 off of Addison Reed.
Rosenthal is 13 of 14 in saves this year. He's not throwing yet. If he's not up by now, he's probably not coming in.
No, and even Manus, you know, if he's not throwing by now, you would think that as we now look to the bullpen, see if somebody goes to the phone, but it looks like Belial may get a chance to finish this one out.
A point of emphasis for the Cardinals. They wanted to be cautious about, going beyond 2 games in a row with Trevor Rosenthal, which they did an awful lot at the beginning of last season. You did see a dip in velocity with Rosenthal. You're early in the year. You want to keep him sharp for the long haul. That's smoked into center field. The catch is made. And Peralta back to the bag at first as Molina lines out. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
And I think it's important to have other guys down there that know that there are going to be occasions where they're going to be called upon to get the final 3 outs of a ball game. In this case, it would Belial possibly get the last 9 outs. Definitely would earn this save.
2 outs and a runner at first. Manus has a couple of saves. Segrist 1. Jordan Walt, who's injured, has 1. And Belial would be looking for his first. And the catch is made off the bat of Jason Hayward. We head to the ninth. 6-4 St. Louis. Six-4. Here's Belial trying to get the final 9 outs for the Cardinals.
Matt does have 5 major league saves. He had 3 for the Colorado Rockies back in 2012.
He'll get the top of the lineup. Inciarte looks at his strike.
Inciarte 1 for 2 against Belial.
Rosenthal, if you're wondering, if he pitched in 3 or 4 consecutive games, he did that 5 times last year. That should be out number 1. He gave up 3 earned runs. He's done that 1 time this year, Trevor, and he gave up a home run late in a game to Pittsburgh. So they're going to be careful with him, and you can understand why Mike Matheny would do this.
Well, but in my way of thinking, too, that it just enhances the bullpen. There's so many more options for Mike. You're telling other guys that, hey, we believe in you. You know, you stay ready because we're not going to just turn it over to the closer all the time. But they know their role, and Trevor just has to know, too, that it's going to keep him sharper for the entire year just by giving him a couple days off. And it's also a time to just have everyone else believe in the rest of the bullpen.
Mark Trumbo at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. A home run late yesterday. And tonight, Trumbo singled back in the first inning. He's grounded out, flied out, and struck out. 1 for 4. Belial up to 35 pitches.
He wasn't going to be able to pitch tomorrow anyway, so you go ahead and burn him a couple more days. He gets tomorrow off, the off day Thursday. He comes back and ready to pitch on Friday. This
3-1.
This is the way it used to be. You know, when you went to the bullpen to take out a starter, whoever went to the mound was going to stay in that ball game until he got in trouble.
Just don't see it very often now, and the last thing he wants to do is walk anybody in front of Goldschmidt. He has him. Carpenter spins to Reynolds. 2 down. That is a big out.
It's a big out, and the entire team gains confidence in Belial if this situation comes up. Carpenter stays with this, goes to his left, spun, made sure he had speed underneath him, made a strong throw. Didn't panic.
The Astros have won game number 30 of their season. First In the American League, the Cardinals trying to be the first in the National League. Randall Grichuk 2 for 3 tonight. Our Budweiser play of the game, and there's strike one on Goldschmidt.
And you could go ahead and challenge Goldschmidt. You can't win this ball game. You cut the lead in half, so you don't get tentative. Just be aggressive against him.
The 0-1. Now 0-2.
Now let's watch Yachty and see how far he sets up outside on this 0-2 slider. Goldschmidt's a little more patient than some of the other hitters.
The 0-2. This would be Belisle's first ever career 3-inning save. 9th time he has gone 3 or more innings in his career. 1 strike to go.
I don't understand that. Yachty set up inside and it was a slider.
The 2-2 doesn't chase.
You kind of felt once he got ahead 0-2, he's going to have to hit a slider. Now Belisle with the count full, you don't want to walk him. You still challenge him.
Now time is called.
Today's game, most of the time you try to make them hit a pitch inside the strike zone, slider.
The 3-2 pitch. Now the tying run will come to the plate.
Kind of hit him 0-2 and then never really gave him a slider that was good enough to where he could offer at it. Everything was far enough out of the strike zone. Got a little quiet here, didn't it? They'll get back into it.
Pollock has scored 2 runs. He's doubled, reached on an error, grounded out, and walked. There's strike one. Cardinals in the no doubles defense. That's Chris Maloney, the first base coach, also sets the outfield.
Nothing over your head. And he's telling all 3 of the outfielders, you'd rather give up a base hit in front of you, but nothing over your head that stays in the park. One. Another slider away.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Line drive, base hit into right. Goldschmidt will stop at second base. Bad hop on Hayward. Runners advance. A throw to second.
Wow.
And safe. And with that hop, now a base hit would tie it.
Second outfield error of the year. This one on Hayward. And it's a costly one. Don't make a pitch. Comes in on it. Aggressive. It takes a little hop on the glove, but gets by him. And very aggressively, they go to second and third. Dini out here, and he'll bring in Manus to get a ground ball.
talked about the Diamondbacks and their hustle in this game tonight, really all series long, and it continues here. The base hit. You see the misplay in right. Takes second base. He's in scoring position. Possible sweep of the Diamondbacks, but still one very important out to go. Runners at second and third. The Cardinals have not had a 3-inning save since August of 2008. Joel Pinheiro. Only 5 3-inning saves since 2000.
He's trying to get his 3rd save of the year. It'll be his 7th of his major league career. Ground ball specialist.
And the first pitch is strike to Yasmani Tomas. Tomas, one of the biggest outs of this game. It was in the 7th against Belial. Bases loaded, and he struck out to end the threat. He chased the slider away. Molina sets up there again. Ground ball. This should do it. Wall. Reynolds. 30 wins so far in 2015. The first in the National League to get to 30. The Cardinals hold on 6-4.
One of those real team efforts. Get a start from Garcia. He wasn't as sharp as he was in number 1, but he wins this one. The bullpen does a great job behind Bilal and Manus on a night when Segras and Rosenthal had off, and it pays off with a victory.
Matt Holliday, 42 consecutive games reaching base to start this year. You'll see the highlights, the scores, the stats coming up. Missouri Lottery, Cardinals Live. Ricky and Pat standing by. That's next.